Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting today. Thursday, May 20th, 2021. The time now is 2:03 p.m. I am President Robert On, and I'll be chairing this meeting. The following commissioners have also joined this meeting virtually via Zoom. We have Vice President Mason, Commissioners Mercado, Naro, and Villa. DCR's Executive Director, Kat Packer, has also joined this meeting along with members of the department and the city attorney staff. I'm going to go over some general instructions and items before we start the meeting today. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being conducted virtually via Zoom and is being live streamed on DCR's website. Individuals who wish to watch this meeting may do so by visiting cannabis.lacity.org and clicking the About menu item at the top. From there, click the Commission Meetings link and scroll down to the bottom of the Commission Meetings page to find the live stream. You can also listen to this meeting by calling council phone at 213-621-2489 or at 818-904-9450 and select the number for this meeting. Those that want to offer public comment may do so by calling one of the two toll-free numbers. The first 877-853-5257 or the second number at 888-475-4499 and enter meeting ID 860-838-7310. These numbers can also be found on the agenda for this meeting. Agendas for today's meetings can be found on the department's website at cannabis.lacity.org and navigating to the commission page under the About menu. This meeting is being recorded, therefore we ask all speakers, commissioners, department staff, and members of the public to please state your name clearly when you speak. The audio file will be posted 48 hours of the meeting online. If you are in the Zoom call, when the item you wish to speak on is called, press *9 to get on the speaking queue. We will then call out each speaker by the last 4 digits of their phone number to identify the caller. The caller will be prompted to unmute themselves by dialing *6. Again, when you unmute yourself, please press *6. If there are no other items you wish to speak on, you may disconnect from the call and view the meeting via the live stream or dial council phone to listen only. We'll be following the agenda order today, and the presentation to the commission will be available on the department's website within 2 business days from this meeting. We'll consider general public comment and single or multiple agenda items together. Therefore, speakers will have 1 minute for general public comment and 1 minute per item with a maximum of 2 minutes for multiple items. We ask that speakers state whether they are providing general public comment and or which other items they are speaking on. Then the staff can appropriately time them, and if the speaker does not specify which items they are speaking on, 1 minute will be provided. So for today, we're going to set aside a maximum time of 1 hour for the combined general comment and single or multiple agenda items. And with that, we'll begin the general public comment and single or multiple agenda items. Speakers can address the commission on non-agenda related items, provided they are within the jurisdiction of the commission, or they can also provide public comment for items in today's agenda by dialing *9 on your telephone. If you're listening on the live stream and have called to provide public comment, please mute the live stream audio before you begin to eliminate any feedback. So let's get ready to begin. Commissioners and staff, please mute your microphones. Ms. Treviso, please call the first speaker.
Sure, thank you. First caller does not show phone number, but you will be asked to unmute yourself by dialing *6. Please remember to state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please state your name.
Good afternoon, commission members. I'm Lieutenant Bill Mulder from West Hollywood Sheriff Station with general comments.
Thank you. You have 1 minute.
I'm speaking today about the marijuana dispensary Cookies at 8360 Melrose Avenue in the city of Los Angeles, which is adjacent to a residential enclave in the city of West Hollywood. Cookies continues to severely and negatively impact the residents in this area. There was a very concerning incident that occurred on March 31st related to Cookies. Several males who were refused entrance into Cookies engaged in a disturbance with Cookies security and flashed a gun at Cookies security. It appears those same individuals drove just a block south to the intersection of Kings Road and Clinton Avenue, which is in the city of West Hollywood, and fired several rounds from a gun. This was a horrific incident occurring in our city, endangering everyone. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, and we are very concerned if Cookies remains at this location that somebody will be seriously hurt or worse. At the previous commission meetings, I've spoke about the litany of problems associated with this business. West Hollywood residents are still reporting these kinds of problems: illegal parking, customers smoking marijuana on the streets in West Hollywood, and people hanging around and causing a disturbance, just to name a few. West Hollywood Sheriff Station and the city of West Hollywood has dedicated numerous law enforcement and other resources to address this problem relating to Cookies. As we previously said, it's critical that we solve this problem before anyone is seriously injured and again, or worse. And it's critical we restore the peaceful community that once existed prior to Cookies. I thank you all in the commission for your attention to this matter.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 7534. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jordan Baker. I am District Manager overseeing Cookies Good Neighborhood Plan at our retail store at Melrose and Kings Road. Working with surrounding residents and the council office, West Hollywood Sheriff's and LAPD, complaints attributed directly to Cookies have plummeted. As you have heard from surrounding businesses and residents who have spoken before the Commission over recent months, the Good Neighbor Commission Plan launched last year is working. To help shift perceptions of our neighbors, we recently put together a 2-minute video using time-lapse footage. The video, which has been provided to the Commission, documents the store's exterior 4-block radius that we clean and patrol. We urge you to watch. Our second investment in the community is our start of a series of open houses for surrounding residents and neighborhood councils, where individuals can meet and get to know our staff, security, and neighborhood liaisons. We anticipate starting this series in June, and we'll keep the Commission informed.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 4426. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on. Caller with phone number ending in 4426.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My name is Eric, and I'm the manager of Sweet Jesus Ice Cream Store on Melrose, which opened in 2020. We are located directly adjacent to Cookies Melrose. We are an international retail brand, and the location on Melrose was our first in the U.S. A key reason we chose this location was the level of foot traffic in the area, and our revenue reflects we made the right choice. From the day we opened in 2020, no other retailer in the area takes a level of responsibility for keeping the neighborhood clean and safe as Cookies on Melrose does. From sweeping the block to what appears to be hourly to having security on site 24/7, Cookies has made the neighborhood inviting, safe, and active. We have customers coming from all across LA attracted by how vibrant and inviting the area has become. We can't imagine a better location or a better neighbor. On behalf of Sweet Jesus, I'd like to thank the entire Cookies team for going above and beyond in caring for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 0184. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hello?
Yes, please
Yes,
state your
can you
name
hear
and yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hi, my name is Evelyn Scott, and I represent the Brinson Consulting Group. We're Phase 3 applicants in the social equity program. And I'm calling to ask that the commission strongly urges the DCR to prioritize social equity. We need it. I'm not going to be long. I come and I express my concerns at every meeting, but at this point, like, we need prioritization. Going through the application process it already has so many flaws, but then when we're asked to constantly submit documents that the DCR has received on several occasions, that does not help the process. So I strongly urge that you guys prioritize social equity. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 8876. You are unmuted. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Yes, my name is Madison Shockley. I'm a member of the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association. And I'm just upset because we've bled so much money over these years. And you have a store like Cookies who has so much fucking business that they got the line wrapped around the block. The community is up in arms over Cookies being so fucking successful. And we can't even get our doors open. That's not prioritization for social equity. That's what's happening. I mean, when this program started, it was supposed to be about 2-to-1 social equity stores versus general applicants. And there's only 2 social equity stores open, and there's over 200 general market stores. That's 100-to-1. And there's all this money to be made out here, and you guys just aren't moving fast enough, and we're suffering. And people are making money hand over fist. This is not social equity. This is not justice. Social Cookies has the infrastructure to have all these people on here talking about to save their license, and we can't get. They don't mention nothing about social equity, and we can't get that support to organize in the community for social equity. What's going on? Where's the corporate support for people who are victims of the war on drugs? Where's the city and state support for? We're not seeing it. It's not happening. This is crazy.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 4478. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hi, I'm calling on the social equity. My name is Cynthia Morsi. I am calling because I am applicant 174. I am very upset because this fund that should be going out to us in order for us to move forward, we're stuck. We were stuck when they first awarded the first 100 applicants and didn't give it the right way to the people that were really waiting for the portals to open at 10. Whatever happened, didn't happen. Second of all, now we have all this money just sitting in the DCR's or the city's accounts, not being issued to us, social equity applicants. I'm urging you guys, please release those funds to us. I am stuck. Every time I call, I let you guys know. I'm a worker just like anybody else. I'm trying to see a future for me, my community, all of us to work together. I could hire people, but it's not happening. Why? Because the DCR or the city, whoever's holding our funds, are not releasing them to the people that need them. I'm already up for a date for an inspection. I have no money. If I would have at least got a fee waiver, I could have at least had my first inspection, which is the city inspection. I'm stuck. I don't even know which way to move, and I've already invested over $200,000. I'm not moving backwards. I want to move forward, and I want the city to give us what they promised. The state to push the city to give us what they gave the city to give to us. It's not a handout. It's not a handout. It is something that we earn by becoming social equity applicants. We did what we had to do to prove to you guys that we were applicants.
Thank
and
you.
we
Your
were
time is up.
awarded.
Caller with phone number ending in 5539. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on. Oh, the call went away. If anyone wishes to provide public comment, please dial *9. Caller with phone number ending in 4692, please state your name and the item you wish to speak on.
General.
Thank you. You have 1
Hello.
minute.
Hello, my name is Henderson Moore. I'm the head of Cookies Melrose Security. Part of our Good Neighborhood program is communication with our multiple partners, our council, the commission, and law enforcement. Regarding law enforcement, we continue outreaching and communicating with Officer O'Brien with LAPD and the Deputy Lapkin with the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department to stay current and ensure that our security patrol of the 4-block radius surrounding the store remains a success. As you may have heard, we have a 24-hour, 7 days a week patrol car, 24-hour phone line, and a 24-hour on-site patrol for community complaints. We are the most visible and available form for the community to be contacted. Because we are known for our availability and prompt response, we are now receiving complaints regarding a number of community issues that are not related to cookies at all, such as homelessness, potholes, and the latest scooters. The outcry on scooters over the past month has increased as LA has opened up. On the scooters, we let folks know that the scooters bother us also, but are not people on scooters, are from Cookies customers. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 8217, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, my name is Jesse Calley. I'm a social equity entrepreneur here in LA. And again, I kind of echo the same thing as my constituents on the line. You guys are going to continuously hear this message, and that's simply to urge, the DCR to prioritize this social equity licensing. From time to time, we're tired of seeing the same repetitive ass presentations. These programs spark that you guys just take our comments and build out a consensus, a data consensus that generally doesn't help anyone. We want you guys to put your pens to the paper and push forth these applications, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with phone number ending in 5539, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hi, my name is Lisa Slaughter, and I'm speaking here on behalf of Cookies today. And in response to Deputy Mulder's concerns regarding the increase or alleged increase in incidences regarding cookies. As you've heard here today, Cookies has taken a number of steps and invested a tremendous amount of time and created jobs, frankly, in ensuring that they police, maintain, and keep the neighborhood safe. However, I think it's unfair and unreasonable to expect or imply that every single incident relating anything, whether it's parking or a gunshot, is specific and directed to Cookies. If that were the case, then any kind of store that posed any kind of issue, such as a liquor store, a 7-Eleven, a gas station, would need to be eliminated and closed as well. Perception, unfortunately, has not been good to Cookies, but it is also unfair to label that perception and maintain that perception despite concrete evidence to the contrary. Additionally, Cookies has reached out to the City of West Hollywood and specifically the West Hollywood Sheriff's Departments on a number of times and received no response or interest in sitting down with Cookies and discussing things on a more specific basis on how Cookies can improve. Additionally, Cookies has invited and continues to invite all law enforcement to come and see the store at any time. And of course, law enforcement has access 24/7 to all of the.
Anyone wishing to make public comment, please dial *9. Caller with phone number ending in 3505, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Oh, hi. Hello, DCR and commissioners. Thank you for taking the time today to be here. I'm a Phase 3 Round 1 license winner, applicant named North Hill Society LLC. We have been sitting on our location for 2 years paying rent, lawyers, accountants. I am about $140,000 in debt, barely staying afloat to keep our retail shop open. Our team has been extremely patient and diligent in getting every document to the DCR and doing everything by the book. When we were allowed to submit for temporary approval in October 2020, we submitted all of our documentation the same week we were allowed to. Passed our inspection. Nearly 7 months later, we still do not have our temporary. After DCR claimed that Phase 3 Round 1 applicants who were prepared and not relocating would have temporary by January 2021. Over 2 weeks ago, on May 3rd, we were granted our state provisional license with BCC. After months of waiting for the DCR to grant local compliance, immediately on May 3rd, we sent over required documentation to DCR, which should grant us temporary approval according to the ordinance. 2.5 weeks, we've been waiting multiple follow-up emails, and we had no responses. It took the state 2 months to review our application and grant us our provisional license. I am asking the DCR to please review our file as soon as possible and grant us temporary approval. As we have been ready this whole
Thank
time,
you.
the
Your time
DCR
is
claims.
up.
Damn.
Anyone wishing to make public comment, please dial *9. If you wish to make public comment, please dial *9. Caller with phone number ending in 2042. Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on. Caller with phone number 2042, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, my name is Marcello Robinson. I'm the Land Use Planning Chair for Westwood Neighborhood Council. I just had a general question for the commission. I'm hearing a lot from the social equity program applicants, and it's my first time sitting in on this meeting, and I'm just curious as to why is it taking years to get this done. You know, I've served on many as a budget advocate for all 99 neighborhood councils, 100 now. I'm just really curious as to, are you understaffed at the DCR? Like, why is it taking this long to get these programs approved in regards to social equity? That's all.
Thank you. If anyone wishes to make public comment, please dial *9.
Give it another 30 seconds.
Sure. If you wish to make public comment, please dial *9. Caller with phone number ending in 8030, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Hansel Urbina. I'm a recipient number 87 from the September 2019 application date. That number was moved up to, I believe, 78. Pardon me, but I don't know any numerical system in the world where number 211 comes before number 87. None. I simply just don't. I can't account for that numbering, especially when the first round of 100 license recipients stalled out delays, and then there was a lawsuit for foul play, and then we further waited, and then we were told we could relocate, but we never had our applications reviewed up until 6 months. Personally, I had to come up here and speak at the March commission before I could ever receive a response. So there's something flawed here, especially in December when Commissioner On asked Ms. Packer, we have 100 to 200 new recipients and they're running around blind. The licensing maps aren't updated. And Ms. Packer said, I'll make sure my staff gets that updated once a month. We were running around blind. Again, there's no system where number 211 comes before number 87. So my recommendation to the commission is to go through each individual applicant numerically and see where they stand. Some of us just needed to relocate across the street and were denied. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. If anyone wishes to make public comment, please dial *9. If anyone wishes to make public comment, please dial *9. President On, we don't see any more raised hands for public comment.
Okay, great. Then let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and close the general public comment agenda item in the single or multiple agenda item periods. I want to thank everyone for participating in today's public comment period. We'll move forward to item number 1. Commissioners, you should have an advanced calendar in front of you with our future meeting dates. Please take a look and advise if there are any planned absences. Okay, I don't see any hands. If anything does come up, please feel free to contact Josie Treviso as far as any absences that may be coming your way. Moving on to the approval of minutes, we were sent the minutes of April 15th, 2021 for your review. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Commissioner Villa. I move to approve the minutes of April 15th, 2021.
Thank you, Commissioner Villa. We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
It's Commissioner Mercado. I would second.
Ms. Treviso, please call the roll.
Sure. Commissioner Villa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Mercado, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice President Mason, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Naro, how do you vote?
Aye.
President On, how do you vote?
Aye.
The vote is 5-0 and the motion passes.
Thank you. So let's go to item number 2. This is the Executive Director's report. Ms. Packer, whenever you're ready, we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, President Allen. My name is Kat. Hey.
Ms. Packer, also, to the extent you can incorporate any of the questions or comments from the public hearing into your report, I think that'd be very helpful.
Okay, thank you. Some folks can hear me okay, great. Well, thank you to the commissioners for joining this meeting and to members of the public for joining and providing public comment. I'll have a more robust commission agenda today with a number of items. I'm going to focus on the executive director's report, but then we'll be able to hear more detailed information about the SPARK program and business licensing and compliance assistance. And we do have some introductions to some of our vendors who are leading that work on our behalf that we want to be able to present and share with commissioners and members of the public this afternoon. But to just provide a brief opening to the executive director's report, and my staff will follow up with more substantive comments. I want to articulate to our stakeholders in the commission who's listening to our stakeholder comments that we hear the concerns and frustrations from social equity applicants. We also recognize that our stakeholders are looking for us to take action and to provide access to resources and to do so in a prioritized fashion. I want to let you know that this department is working around the clock to ensure that we prioritize the review of our social equity applications, specifically phase 3 retail round 1 applicants. Part of what we're going to be talking about in today's programming is how we can, as a department, make ourselves more available to assist applicants directly through that process. The reality is that even if we're just talking about the 200 phase 3 retail round 1 applicants, there are 200 individuals who are running their businesses and many navigating through the same challenges, but also may need specific assistance relative to their circumstance. I also want to acknowledge, folks have articulated that they want to see prioritization in not only the review of social equity applicants, but are commenting about the reality that existing medical marijuana dispensaries and those that have been allowed to be vertically integrated have had priority thus far in our market, and that our ordinance required that we prioritize and review existing medical marijuana dispensaries, allow them to vertically integrate and add their adult use activities, and to transition their supply chain all before we began to be able to receive applications for social equity applicants. There was a caller who was new to this call and asked, why is the process taking so long? I think that there are a number of reasons at this point, and we'll discuss what we're doing to move this process forward. But I think for the record, and I say this because I'm constantly engaged in other jurisdictions and trying to allow them to learn from some of our lessons. And the reality is that we have been and required to prioritize our existing operators. And unfortunately, the city of Los Angeles did not have infrastructure to do that prior to adult use legalization. So we've spent the time since adult use legalization transitioning our existing operators and allowing them to engage in adult use activity while we work to get resources, programming resources for the social equity program and build staff for application processing and other parts of our operations. we're at a moment now where we do have resources that have been made available through the state of California and through the city. And part of what we're going to be able to share with you today is how those resources are being put to use to try and immediately target social equity applicants and to assist them through the process. I recognize that the reality is that in order for us to allow equitable access to our market, we really need folks to not only have access to licensing opportunities, like we've made delivery and retail opportunities exclusively available to social equity applicants, but also allow equity applicants to apply for every other license type. But it's not just about making those opportunities available, but by putting together the resources to reduce barriers to entry. And the reality is that it's been slow to stand up those programs, whether it has been because we've lacked the resources in terms of staff, or it's taken us a while to build programming internally because of the bureaucracy associated with either applying for grants or complying with the grants, or because the cannabis industry is still a Schedule I narcotic in the eyes of the federal government. We are building economic and business development programming from scratch. And I hope that other jurisdictions get to a point where their workforce and development agencies and their business development agencies can provide access, and we don't have to spend the time trying to build all of these programs from scratch. But nonetheless, that's what we were tasked with, and that's what we're set to deliver. And so what I want to share with this commission and share with members of the public is that, you know, I truly believe that if we can coordinate and organize together, this department, this commission, members of the public, and really get not only programming up and running, but feedback on the programming that we have existing, we can make significant progress. I've heard folks who called in today and said, we need access to capital. There's capital available to you, but we need you to apply. We have a financial grant program where we're making $6 million available to social equity applicants, but you can't get it immediately. You have to apply first. And we've been setting up different programming and resources to make the assistance available. And unfortunately, we still have low turnout in terms of the application. So I want to make sure that as we're sharing information today about these resources, particularly the folks who are calling in and saying that we need access to these things, please apply, because it's going to be critically important for us to be able to ensure that these resources are getting to the individuals that need it most. And we have resources available for folks who said they need capital. And I recognize that we need to pump more and more resources into these programs, but we need to be able to show that people are participating. So again, today there's $6 million available for social equity applicants. I want to see every single person who's eligible for those dollars apply and get a reward, so we can say, you know, we still have 100 people who are eligible. Let's go out and get additional dollars. But I recognize, again, it's not just capital that folks need access to. Folks need access to technical assistance, and that's what the ordinance refers to as business licensing and compliance assistance. It has taken us a while to go through the bureaucracy to launch different requests for qualifications, to identify vendors, to make sure that we're bringing our social equity applicants a panel of experts. But Dr. Brown and her team are going to share with you our 4-month plan with our vendors to make sure that we're building and implementing and making available programming as soon as possible. We want this is part of the reason why I invited our vendors today. We want applicants and our stakeholders to be able to talk directly to our vendors through the commission meetings and otherwise, to say, this is what we need assistance on. This is the type of support that we need, so that we can build that in real time and make it available. I do want to articulate to this commission I know that several months ago, we had relayed that because of the city's fiscal crisis, we had been under a hiring freeze and a contracting freeze. And through various allocations and because the city has done better in its budget than it had originally expected, there will be opportunities beginning on July 1st for us to begin to fill vacant positions. And I think that that's going to go a long way as well. But I just wanted to be able to bring this commission and body and members of the public up to speed, because I know as we do these meetings and they happen once a month, sometimes it can appear as though there aren't lots of changes happening in between. But I'm confident that as we head into this next fiscal year, and as we're working with community to get recommendations on programming, and also to deliver programming out the door through business licensing and compliance assistance, through grant programs and other programs to provide financial and fee assistance to applicants. We are looking forward to providing what we understand is long overdue programming, and we're trying to work to encourage for additional resources to be put into our programming here, both at the local and state level, and to make those resources more readily available to our applicants. I'm in communication with the folks who lead efforts in San Francisco, San Diego, Oakland, et cetera. Many of us are similarly situated in trying to stand up this programming for the first time. And I'm excited again today to share our vendors with you that I know will be able to set model programming in terms of our technical assistance. But in order for us to do that, we need your help. I need the commission's help. I need the help of members of the public to help inform our policies and programs. And I want to say thank you to those members of the public and our commissioners who have been joining us at our Spark sessions. Those have been really informative and have been a way for us to collect and receive additional feedback. My team is going to share additional information later. But I did want to provide that background for context as we prepare to head into the executive director's report. Next slide. The remainder of today's report will cover the status of the city's cannabis licensing and social equity program, and include summaries on the following: information related to the general administration of our department, information related to our licensing program, including information about phase 3 retail round 1 application processing, PCN application processing, and application modifications. And we'll also be sharing information about the SEED grant program. Next slide. I will now hand things over to our public relations specialist, Rena Plummer, who will quickly review topics that will be discussed.
Thank you, Director Packer. I will now continue with a summary of DCR activities since the last meeting of the Cannabis Regulation Commission. Much has happened since this commission met back on April 15th, 2021. In addition to providing a summary of DCR's progress, DCR shared new information, including but not limited to general administration, communications, Spark, administered in partnership with MBI Media, policy updates, DCR report regarding social equity grant acceptance, expenditure program and related code amendments, licensing updates, applicant and licensee upcoming deadlines and recent communications, pre-application process and temporary approval process, phase 3 retail round 1 application processing, applicant phase 3 delivery, distribution, non-volatile manufacturing application processing, testing lab license application processing, processing of public convenience or necessity requests, social equity program updates, including program resources, the SEED grant program administered in partnership with Elevate Impact LA, pro bono legal services, and compliance and enforcement updates, including the BSCC Proposition 64 enforcement grant. I will now continue with updates related to our activities to date. The Department of Cannabis Regulation is taking every precaution possible to prevent the spread of COVID-19. To help protect the health of our customers and staff, and in line with Mayor Garcetti's directives, DCR has implemented the following. Cannabis Regulation Commission meetings will be conducted virtually and telephonically until further notice. DCR's public service counter is currently closed. DCR is conducting virtual inspections. DCR licensing and information services are still available online at cannabis.lacity.org or by phone. For more information about resources related to COVID-19 and getting vaccinated from the City of Los Angeles, please visit corona-virus.la. In addition to that, on April 15th, the Department of Cannabis Regulation changed the operating hours of its licensing and information services, or virtual public counter. The virtual public counter is now available Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and closed on Fridays and holidays. Virtual public counter services include the operation of DCR's general phone lines and email systems. 3 to 4 DCR personnel will actively monitor DCR's main phone line during these new regular business hours to ensure coverage. If staff members are unavailable at the time of the call, calls will no longer be routed to the remaining members of the licensing team. DCR staff will return voicemail messages within 3 business days to callers who leave appropriate contact information, which includes a full name and phone number. We are making this operational change in order to dedicate more staff time to license application processes. As such, DCR staff will not be available to answer DCR's phone line nor respond to emails on Friday. Instead, on Fridays, licensing staff will be focused on license application processing, virtual inspections, and modification requests. As mentioned, the department is closed on holidays. And the department will be closed Friday, May 28th through Monday, May 31st in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. On Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, DCR hosted a social equity program webinar. The webinar covered the licensing program and the social equity program's resources and benefits. The webinar also went in depth about the SEED grant program. More than 350 people RSVP'd for the event, and the team received more than 100 questions throughout the webinar. To watch the webinar, visit DCR's website under the DCR events page and select the link to the social equity program webinar video. In 2019, DCR was allocated funding from the city's general fund for use by the department to launch education and outreach programming. Once these resources were allocated, DCR released a request for proposals to identify a vendor who could help design and implement related education and outreach programming. This programming has since been referred to as stakeholder meetings and community listening sessions. After completing the procurement and contracting process, which included reviewing a number of proposals, holding interviews, mock sessions, and doing reference checks, DCR has selected MBI Media as the successful vendor. Since December 2020, DCR and MBI Media have partnered to design and develop this initiative, which we have called Spark. On Tuesday, April 20th, DCR launched Spark. This initiative again seeks to engage a diverse group of thought leaders, community-based organizations, nonprofits, businesses, educators, and others via the collection of stakeholder comments, administration of stakeholder surveys, and the administration of one-on-one on-screen stakeholder interviews and facilitated discussions. I'm excited to have MBI share more information about the progress of Spark in agenda item number 3. DCR will be hosting a variety of events in the next month, are coming up soon, including 4 Spark sessions and a SEED grant program webinar. This information will be updated on the website. The first upcoming event will be next Wednesday, May 26, 2021. It's a Spark session focused on licensing and regulation. And then there's additional Spark sessions. And again, the Seed Grant Program webinar on Thursday, June 10th. To RSVP for the Seed Grant Program webinar, visit the DCR website at cannabis.lacity.org. In January 2021, DCR applied for a $1 million grant from the Board of State and Community Corrections, or BSCC, who awarded DCR the full grant amount on April 8th, 2021. On May 12th, 2021, City Council voted to approve a resolution to accept the grant funding. On May 11th, 2021, Council heard and voted to approve an ordinance amending proof of deposit requirements for round one applicants and extending the cannabis application renewal fee payment deadline for 2019, 2020, and 2021 application fee payments until July 31st, 2021. I will now turn this over to Ms. Rocky Wiles, the Compliance and Operations Manager, who will provide an update on DCR's licensing program and related activities.
Hello, commissioners. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Plummer. Next slide, please. So as mentioned previously and also in previous commission meetings, DCR's virtual public counter is open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it is closed on Fridays and holidays. And just another reminder that we have Memorial Day holiday coming up. So we will be closed on the 31st as well. Next slide, please. Some licensing program reminders for everybody. DCR provides services after records are filed. Filing does require that the record is successfully submitted and all applicable fees are paid unless an eligibility determination is required by law prior to our invoicing. DCR does not provide feedback and or review a record until it has been officially filed. The anticipated duration of time needed to review and process applications is based on the processing, is based on the date the request is filed. Given that only half of our licensing positions remain filled, processing times to review applications and modification requests are much longer than what we would like it to be. We're very hopeful that we will be able to fill these positions in the new budget if the hiring freeze is removed. Next slide, please. Some phase 2 deadlines. So phase 2 applicants must receive temporary approval by September 30th of this year. Applications that have not met this processing milestone will be deemed abandoned. These applicants in phase 2 who failed to submit proof of an active state license by May 31st will lose their local authorization provided under LAMC section 104.08A. Phase 2 applicants who failed to receive temp approval by June 30th will lose their local authorization provided under that same code section, LAMC 104.08A. And again, these phase 2 applicants, but if phase 2 applicants have site control and they have the complete temporary approval application submitted, may request that a notice of local compliance underway be issued if you do lose local authorization. Next slide. Some application modification updates. So DCR has begun to approve modification requests for relocations. A new Acela record is created for the new business premises location. The applicant is required to upload the documents needed to get a letter of local compliance underway to the new Acela record. We know this is an inconvenience, but unfortunately, once we deprecate the old record, those documents that have been previously submitted do not transfer over to the new record. So we do ask that those documents be resubmitted. Applicants will be given the list of documents that you need to resubmit. we have when you received the notification from us, we have basically broken it into 2 different buckets. You know, the documents and forms that are needed before you can schedule or request an initial inspection, and then those documents that you need in order to get temporary approval. Just another reminder, the old application record will be deprecated, so please do not use the old application record number in your communications to our department. Other modifications will be processed within the existing Acela record. So if you didn't submit a relocation modification request, the same Acela record will remain. Next slide, please. So just a quick summary of what City Council has done lately in relation to our department. They've adopted additional rules and regulations to implement a financial grant program and implemented a fee deferral waiver program for social equity applicants. They have adopted the resolution for us to accept over $2 million in a grant from the state to benefit the city's social equity program. They adopted an ordinance to authorize DCR to accept late 2019, 2020, and 2021 renewal applications and make late renewal fee payments for those years. The ordinance extends the time in which to pay the renewal fees and applicable late fees to July 31st, 2021. The ordinance, I believe, was signed by the mayor today and will become effective 31 days after it is published by the city clerk. I don't believe that it has been published yet, but it will become effective again 31 days after it is published by the city clerk. Next slide, please. Some licensing data numbers. DCR is processing records associated with 1,099 business premises. This table, and we will make this table public, we'll post it on our website and it will be updated monthly. So it's broken down by phase in the application process. So according to the table, we have issued 461 temporary approvals, 496 businesses have pending approval, pending temporary approval applications. 95 records are in the pre-application review process, and 47 PCN requests are pending before City Council. Next slide. This slide, this table shows that we have issued 1,702 temporary approvals. Next slide. Next slide. This slide shows that we have 721 pending temporary approval applications in the pipeline. Again, these tables will be published on our website. So just some highlights of phase 3 retail round 1 application processing. We have 63 businesses that have uploaded 1 or more temporary approval documents. 46 of these 63 businesses have uploaded the minimum number of completed temporary approval documents and are eligible for a status of local compliance underway. 23 of these 46 have scheduled an initial DCR inspection. 19 of those 23 have passed the initial inspection. 3 phase 3 retail round 1 applicants have received temporary approval. And our maps, which are on our website, do reflect these 3 additional temporary approvals that we have issued. Next slide, please. This is for phase 3 applicants that are going through equity share document review. You will be receiving something that looks like this. This is our equity share review correction sheet. This form provides feedback to you regarding the equity share requirements in accordance with LAMC 104.20. Provisions that may violate equity share requirements are summarized and explained in sections within this form. So there are 5 sections in this form, and they correspond to how the code is divided. So section A is unconditional ownership by equity share. Section B is the profits dividends and distributions. Section C is the voting rights and control. E is successors, and section E is the additional equity share requirements and miscellaneous items. So the applicants have to comply with the equity share requirements at all times, and we reserve the right to enforce requirements at any time. Next slide, please. Just a quick recap on PCN requests. We have transmitted all of our PCN requests to the city clerk. Notice of public convenience and necessity application filing is on our website under public notice in the licensing menu. We transmitted a total of 47 requests, and the number per community plan area is shown on this slide. We had 29 in Central City, 5 in Central City North, 3 in Harbor Gateway. We had 6 requests in the Sherman Oaks Studio City Community Plan Area, 5 in the Sun Valley Latuna Canyon Community Plan Area, and finally 3 in Venice. Stakeholders and members of the public can view the PCN request as well as any additional information submitted for council consideration by accessing the council file. Council file is also on our website in the public notice section under the licensing menu. Stakeholders may submit any concerns and/or documents to the City Council pertaining to these requests at lacouncilcomment.com. Next slide. I'll now turn the presentation over to our Social Equity Program Director, Dr. Brown, to provide a summary of social equity program-related activities since the last commission meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Wiles, and good afternoon, commissioners. I'll get right into the updates. As I always begin my presentation with our mission statement, which is to promote equitable ownership and employment opportunities in the cannabis industry in order to decrease disparities in life outcomes for marginalized communities and to address the disproportionate impacts of the war on drugs in those communities. Next slide, please. Social equity program benefits and resources. Now, the department supports the mission of the social equity program through its established programming benefits and resources. Today's presentation will focus on the following: application processing, seed grant program, our business licensing and compliance assistance program, and access to pro bono legal services. Next slide. Now, this is just a chart showing our program status and where we are. Application processing is available. Our seed grant program is available, and as you know, it was launched on 4/20. Our business licensing and compliance is in development, and our pro bono legal services are available. And fee waiver and fee deferral programs, details will be forthcoming. Next slide, please. Our business licensing and compliance assistance. It will provide our social equity applicants with programming and training in the areas of state and local licensing requirements, commercial cannabis regulations, general business development, cannabis-specific business development, and workforce development. DCR has selected 5 vendors who will be developing curricula for the program. These vendors are here today, and you will hear from them later on in today's commission meeting. As we announced during our last commission, DCR launched the Seed Grant Program on April 20th, 2021, in partnership with Elevate Impact LA. For more information and to apply for this grant, please make sure to visit elevateimpactla.com. Next slide. A little bit of background about SEED. In April 2021, the City of Los Angeles established the Social Equity Entrepreneur Development Grant, better known as SEED Grant Program. The grant program utilizes funding from the California's Equity Grant for Local Jurisdictions, or the CEG grant, to provide financial assistance to verified social equity individual applicants. Now, to date, the City of LA has dedicated $6 million toward the SEED grant program through funds made available through the 2019 and 2020 CEG grant awards. From that, $5 million is available for SEED 1.0 and $1 million is available for SEED 2.0. And as I said earlier, the seed grant program is being administered in partnership with Elevate Impact LA. Seed Grant 1.0 will utilize $5 million of the $6 million of CEG funding to provide grants of $25,000 each to Phase 3 Retail Round 1 individual applicants. Next slide. Seed 2.0 will utilize $1 million of the $6 million to provide grants up to $10,000 each to verified social equity individual applicants in 2 disbursements. They are eligible to receive $5,000 of disbursement when the Department of Cannabis Regulation approves their pre-application for further processing. They can receive an additional $5,000 when they reach a milestone that deems them eligible for a notice of compliance underway. Next slide, please. After receiving some initial feedback from Elevate Impact LA, we wanted to make everybody aware of some common mistakes in the application process and how to rectify those issues. Now, first, some applicants are uploading complete business plans. Please remember that the seed assessment documents only require applicants to provide an executive business summary. This should be a simpler and shorter document. We're looking at 2 to 3 pages max. Second, some applicants are uploading their entire business budget. We only need to see how you plan to budget for your grant funds. As a reminder, Elevate Impact LA has made themselves available to assist every applicant with completing their applications. Please use your best judgment and best effort to complete applications, but do not hesitate to reach out to the team at Elevate Impact LA. This is a free service for applicants. I can't stress enough, their resources are free to you. Next page. Thank you. Next slide. Here is a snapshot of the number of applications in process. And as you can see, we have folks initiating their applications. 61 have initiated applications, but not completed them. If you're in this group, please reach out to Elevate Impact LA to answer any questions you need to move forward. Their services are free. Finally, we have three grant recipients who have signed their grant agreements. They will be receiving funds directly in the next several weeks. Next slide, please. In an effort to better serve our applicants, we are hosting a free seed lunch and learn on June 10th from 12 to 1:30. The team from Elevate Impact will walk participants through each step of the application. They'll provide feedback on grant assessment docs and answer all your questions. All who register will receive the assessment documents in advance, and they will have the opportunity to fill them out with the Elevate Impact team during the webinar. Please register at cannabis.lacity.org on the Seed Grant Program page. Please register today. Again, the services provided at this webinar are free. Next slide. Additionally, we have 3 video tutorials available on the Seed website to assist you with filling out your grant application. These videos cover how to find information about the grant, how to fill out the grant assessment documents, and finally, how to submit an application. We encourage you to use these free resources wherever possible. Next slide. I'd like to go over some pro bono legal services updates. Of course, we are in partnership with the Los Angeles County Bar Association. LACBA has officially launched the program and has begun matching qualified social equity applicants with the pro bono legal panel. For Phase 3 Retail Round 1 applicants who are interested in participating in this program, they must first submit to the pro bono legal services a survey. It's called the Pro Bono Legal Services Survey and the Legal Services Authorization Agreement. That's just 2 forms, right? DCR regularly sends out reminders to Phase 3 Retail Round 1 applicants about their access to pro bono legal services. Please apply for this support. And as I said, it's an easy application process. The goal of this referral resource is to promote fair and equitable participation in the licensed commercial cannabis industry. and to foster a legal playing field as it relates to access to legal counsel and help deter predatory practices targeting the social equity community. This is an excellent opportunity for applicants to connect with attorneys about their legal needs. DCR will send out additional reminders about pro bono legal services to Phase 3 Retail Round 1 applicants moving forward. Please check your emails or contact your designated analyst if you have any questions. Now I will pass the presentation back over to Director Packer.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. This concludes the Executive Director's report. And Commission President On, if there are any questions or comments that you or commissioners have about the Executive Director's report that do not relate to the following agenda items, I'd like to be able to address those now. And then, of course, if there are remaining questions about agenda item number 3 or agenda item number 4, we can discuss those at the conclusion of those agenda items.
Thank you, Director Packer. I think you did a good job incorporating some of the comments and the feedback. But I just kind of want to reiterate, going back to, I think it was a final, one of the last speakers, there was a question about specifically the order of the applications and that they weren't being approved in sequence. And I think you might have touched upon this, but I just want to kind of reiterate, because I think that's a point that's come up on more than one occasion. So if you don't mind just kind of talking about kind of your perspective on that particular question.
Yes, and thank you, Commission President On, for the question. I think what's really determinative for many of these decisions about processing is our land use ordinance and the requirement that businesses have to be 700 feet away from each other, specifically that retail businesses have to be 700 feet away from each other. Now, I'm not sure that I'm getting or that I'm aware of the specific fact pattern that the individual who made public comment on before, but to describe a scenario that could allow for a situation where a higher numbered applicant would be able to secure a property before a lower number applicant. I'll describe a hypothetical if that's appropriate.
Yes, please.
So you could have a situation where, let's say that applicant A was in the first 100 identified eligible for further processing. Let's call them application number 50. And then in application A is at location A. And you have a applicant that comes after them. Let's call them applicant B. And let's say that applicant B is number 150. And so applicant A is application number 50 at location A. You have applicant B at location B. There could be a circumstance where applicant A applied at location A and then decided to relocate. At the same time that they're deciding to relocate, they would have lost site control over the original location A. And let's say that location B, which was on the original application for applicant B, is within 700 feet of the business premises, the new business premises that applicant A wanted to move into. So let's call that location C. That would be a circumstance where even though applicant B has a higher number than application A, because they had site control, and when they were determined eligible, would have created a 700 foot sensitive use buffer around that particular location. If applicant A was going through a relocation request and that particular applicant's location was within 700 feet of location B, which would have been the original location on the applicant 150, that's a scenario where 100 and the applicant and at and application 150 could essentially be the application that is creating a sensitive use buffer for application number 50. So an applicant A for that hypothetical. So I know that it can get complex and tricky because of these sensitive use requirements. It is often the applicant who files the application first, particularly when we're talking about relocation requests, that is going to create that 700 foot sensitive use buffer. But I think that this gets to a comment that I've been hearing in some of the Spark sessions from some stakeholders about wanting to lower some of the sensitive use buffers in between retail businesses. There are other jurisdictions that have thresholds of 100 feet, 200 feet, or no barriers because they're intentionally trying to cluster cannabis businesses in one particular maybe commercial corridor or industrial corridor for compliance purposes. But to kind of get back to that particular hypothetical, applicant A can still move forward, but they're going to have to find another location because applicant B in the hypothetical that I posed would have had site control and have created a 700 foot buffer. If city council so chooses, they could adopt a policy that would allow for a lowering of that sensitive use buffer. It wouldn't address immediately the stakeholder who gave public comment earlier, but we've heard over and over again from stakeholders expressing a desire to see some flexibility. And so I'd like to be able to work with this commission to try and figure out an appropriate solution so that we're maintaining public health and safety with the siting of these businesses, but also allowing for reasonable accommodation of commercial cannabis activity. So my ask to you, Commission President On, in this body, and I'm sure because these are some of the feedback that we're receiving in the Spark initiative, we will be able to address this directly through that initiative. But this is something that's coming up time and time again. So I look forward to working with this body to try and find a more reasonable solution.
Thank you for that clarification. I do have a follow-up question to that. In the event that, I mean, let's just say all things being equal, there are not any of these land use concerns. Is it true that we are processing these in accordance to that number sequence or that number order?
So the identification of who was eligible for further processing was done in the sequence order. So in order for us to determine that there were 200 applicants eligible for further processing via phase through retail round one, the identification of those applicants was done through reviewing applicants in order. And of course, if we got to an application and they were not compliant or didn't meet the requirements, we moved forward and went to the next applicant in sequence. But since we have determined applicants eligible for further processing, and maybe this is the missed point, but since we have determined applicants eligible for further processing, they all start at the same point, at that point, and that is, and then applying for temporary approval at the location that they were determined eligible for further processing at. So, and this is why I've tried to reiterate at these commission meetings and in other public meetings, when people were applying for phase 3 retail round one back in September, of 2019, they weren't applying to engage in commercial cannabis activity. They were applying to be determined eligible to apply. And so the determination of who was eligible was done in sequence. But since we determined that the 200 applicants are eligible for further processing, they are all 200 of them, moving through the temporary approval process on their own accord and at their own speed, and with a varying level of resources. And I know that that's part of what one of the next agenda items is how we can better establish resources to help folks navigate through that process.
Sure. Okay, that's very helpful clarification. So I think there is some misinformation out there with regard to the sequencing. So it seems like, just for the record, that all those applicants that were deemed to qualify and eligible for further processing are starting at the same point. And they are all progressing at different levels and different rates, depending on, whatever unique circumstances they may have, whether it's land use or otherwise.
That's absolutely correct, Commission President On.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I see Vice President Mason has her hand. Commissioner Mason, you want to speak?
Thank you, President On. In the 3 Spark sessions that I attended, there were several requests to expedite the phase 3 round 2 social equity applications in the same fashion that the EMMD applications were processed. And I wanted Kat to speak to the feasibility of that.
Yeah, and I'll speak to it right now. I'm sure we'll have a more substantive conversation about some of the Spark recommendations in a future agenda item. But I want to clarify. I think I think the comment was folks want to see phase 3 retail round 1 applicants prioritized in the same fashion that our phase 1 applicants were prioritized. And I'm going to make an assumption about what that means. But when we started to accept applications in January of 2018 from a limited number of existing medical marijuana dispensaries, part of what's important for context is that none of these businesses had licenses, but they all had limited immunity. And that's a concept that no longer exists in the city, and it wouldn't be beneficial to applicants anymore either, because state law now requires that folks actually have a license. Limited immunity isn't worth much nowadays. But that's important because that is part of what framed the city's ability to prioritize these folks. Existing medical marijuana dispensaries had limited immunity and were able to apply for their state license and local license. And there similarly were a subset of operators who all applied pretty much on the same date, but it took them several months to get through the application process. What's unique to the existing medical marijuana dispensaries is that they were uniquely called out as the only applications at the time that the department was working on. And so, unlike today where and we showed the chart earlier where we have 1,000 existing licensees and close to 800 pending applications, and we really have to provide oversight and manage the processing of those applications concurrently. There was a point in time where there was only one category of applications that we were processing. And I think part of this conversation too is that these folks weren't social equity applicants, and so there are certain requirements that are specific to social equity applicants and processes that are specific to social equity applicants that these applicants did not have to go through. What I could imagine, and I want to, and that's the question, is what the feasibility of it is. I think it's both a question of feasibility and probably just also a legal question as well. But part of what these folks need in order to be able to operate is a state license. And right now, we don't allow folks to get authorization to apply for their state license. And this is a new concept. This didn't exist in 2018. This notice of local compliance underway framework is relatively new. But based on current law, we don't provide that notice of local compliance underway until an application has gone through the land use review. And if you were existing medical marijuana dispensary, that may not have been necessary because you would have been quote unquote grandfathered into your location. But we did allow these folks to quickly apply for their state license. Right now, we don't allow folks to do that until they have a location that is eligible for further processing. And then that they submit a complete temporary approval application. But as soon as an applicant gets to the pre-application review process, and again, there's a pre-application review fee that's around $600 that allows us to verify that the location is compliant. Then the applicant can apply for temporary approval. There is a temporary approval fee. But after they submit those documents, they're able to apply for the notice of local compliance underway. Now, we recently modified our process. When we first started to review these applications, Vice President Mason, we had made a determination that we weren't going to provide that notice of local compliance underway until after we had verified that the applicant was compliant with equity share requirements. We subsequently amended our policy to provide it earlier on in the process to not make that review an additional burden for applicants before they were at least able to apply for the state. And so instead of waiting until we determined that the equity share documents were compliant or complete, we just require that they submit a completed application. So there are ways for us to either change the order in which we administer some of these requirements or through policy just eliminate some of the requirements entirely. And the reality is that over time, there may now be more requirements than existed back at the top of 2018 when this was just getting started.
Thank you. I want to open it up to.
I'm not done.
Okay.
So thank you. Thank you for that, Kat. So in follow up to that, are you looking at what aspects can be eliminated and making recommendations accordingly? Will we be hearing about that sometime soon, or where are you with that?
Yes, so this is something that my team is assessing constantly. I believe that there are some recommendations that we'll be making to council about this before they go on recess. Council will go on recess at the top of July, as it's almost the end of May. We'll really only have a month to try and move some of these policies through. But there's certain things that we're considering, and I'll just name it. We are considering, for example, not requiring that the applicant have a provisional license before we issue our license. The reality is that businesses need both licenses to operate. If you operate with one and not the other, you're still engaged in unlicensed commercial cannabis activity. But there are a few application requirements that we have as a part of the temporary approval process that are completely out of our control, like the fire department inspection process or like the state licensing process. So part of what we're considering is just removing those requirements from our process. It doesn't mean that folks are exempt from fire code or exempt from complying with the requirements to get their state license. But it's essentially us, providing licensure first. And then if there are issues of compliance that we identify afterwards, we reserve the right to revoke that license, but at least the licensing process, particularly that's not in our purview, wouldn't be the thing that is preventing someone from getting licensure. That's just one example, Vice President Mason, of ways that we can eliminate or at least restructure what can be perceived as barriers to entry in the form of just licensing requirements themselves. But I think it's going to be a constantly evolving process. So there are recommendations like the one I just provided, not requiring that an applicant have a provisional license before we give them a provisional license. Doesn't mean they can't operate. That's the type of thing we're going to try and address before council goes on recess. But based on feedback that we hear from stakeholders and anything that can't kind of meet the pre-recess train, we'll be following up with council as they get back from recess and heading into the fall. So, I know that you're familiar with this process, but for members of the public, the reality is that council goes on recess twice a year. And so as we try and formulate different policy recommendations, just knowing the ebb and flow, if we're unable to pass a policy before summer recess, then our goal would be to try and pass policies based on Spark input before council would go on winter recess. But to the extent that there are things that we can work on and address immediately, that would be our goal.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I want to open it up to my other commissioners. Do you have any questions or comments regarding the presentation?
I have a question.
Sure, Commissioner Naro, let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much. I'd like to Paco, you're always very thorough on your presentations. I appreciate that. I have a question. I think it's great that we're trying to create a system to provide, economic relief for the, relief for the social equity applicants. My concern is that money's going to dry up, and I was wondering if there's has there been any engagement with the mayor's office and the governor's office to see if we can leverage more resources? Because now seems to be the time everybody's doing that, to try to leverage more relief packages and resources for different programs. And has there been any conversations during the budget process about that?
Yes, and thank you, Commissioner Naro. I appreciate the question. We are in budget season, and both the state and the city are going through its budget process right now. We did see in the mayor's proposed budget an additional allocation of $3 million for business licensing and compliance assistance. There was an allocation of $3 million in 2019. So this would bring the total allocation for that particular program to $6 million. And you'll actually hear from the vendors that we've selected to administer this programming very shortly. But in addition to resources that have been made available through the general fund, we're actively engaged in conversation with folks in the governor's office and at the state legislature about getting additional resources into the social equity program specifically. There are different legislation that's being considered, and we're kind of waiting to see whether or not there's going to be movement, or some of these things are going to be successful through the legislative cycle. But the governor's proposed budget would dedicate $15 million in sustained funding to social equity programs. The reality is that we could use the $15 million exclusively here in the city of Los Angeles. That's the reality. And so we're going to do everything that we can to go after those dollars, of course. But there are over a dozen jurisdictions at this point that are competing. over those dollars. And so I know that there are efforts that are being made, particularly by Senator Stephen Bradford, to get additional resources to local jurisdictions for their local equity programs, but also to provide direct support from the state in terms of things like fee waivers, fee deferrals, and tax credits, things of that nature. So we're always exploring ways for us to get additional resources for our social equity applicants. I can follow up, make sure before this commission meeting ends to make sure that I can state on the record the date that the city council is supposed to be adopting a budget, so that you all have that, and so that members of the public can participate in that conversation. But I think part of what's going to be important, Commissioner Naro, is for us to be able to show program participation. We have several programs that are available to date, and we see relatively low participation in these programs. And I think in order for us to be able to make the argument to leadership, both at the state and local level, we need to be able to show that we're, one, utilizing the resources. And I know I've heard from stakeholders who are concerned that it's taking so long for us to disperse funds. Again, that's not an issue that's unique to the city of Los Angeles. We're doing a lot of this stuff from scratch, but I have to be able to ask this commission, members of the public, to participate in programming so that we can show, through X dollars, we were able to serve X number of applicants, and then make the argument that there is a high demand for these resources and programs. And so that's an ongoing conversation, even though we're in the budget process. The reality is that it's a year-long process. And so we just encourage folks to let us know, and through our program, again, for the business licensing and compliance assistance, for example, we have a suite of vendors who are going to be building out all different categories of programming. But to the extent that we hear we need specific services related to A, B, and C, we can turn to our vendors and say, this is what our community needs right now. We need to spend the next 4 months building and delivering this particular programming. But we are continuing to engage both at the state and local level. I'm hopeful that both through the allocation made at the local and state level, we'll have tens of millions of dollars and resources available to social equity applicants. And I look forward to distributing these resources as soon as possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments?
Commissioner On, this is Commissioner Villa.
Commissioner Villa?
I have a question. Is this the point in time where you are going to take future agenda requests for the executive director, or do you want me to hold that request till later?
We can do it now.
Okay, so one of my, what I have a question about is at the next meeting, I would like to know if the executive director could please report on whether or not there are any regulation or rules regarding the name that retail cannabis businesses can have. We've heard a lot about, over the last series of meetings, about a retail business specifically called Cookies. And now I have seen a large billboard advertising this dispensary called Ice Cream, cream spelt with a K. Small children see this and they think we're talking about selling ice cream cones here. So this is concerning to me, and I just wondered if there were any regulations related to this, and if that could be addressed at a future meeting, I would be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villa. We'd be more than happy to report on that at a future commission meeting.
Okay, Commissioner Mercado on?
I am. No questions, but just comments. I appreciate the thoroughness of the report, Kat, and the dedication of you and your team. And just one other comment would be to thank President On to encourage Kat to be able to respond in her presentation to some of the comments. I think that allows for a healthy discussion.
Yes, thank you. With that, I'd like to move forward to item number 3 on our agenda. Item number 3 has to do with the Spark program. And I believe we have a presentation from staff that's prepared.
We do. Thank you so much, Commission President On. I will now move us through agenda item number 3 related to the Spark program. And in order to present this agenda item, I will hand the presentation over to Ms. Plummer and Ms. Smith from NBI Media to provide updates on the Spark program.
Thank you, Director Packer. We recognize that there are many questions and concerns about cannabis in our community, and also recognize that current laws about cannabis continue to have significant impacts on issues like employment rights, housing rights, educational opportunities, and access to healthcare. And these laws and policies continue to have wide-ranging impacts on Angelenos, especially on marginalized communities. This is the genesis of Spark. With your help, DCR can support and provide the community with access, resources, and knowledge about cannabis activity in the city to the local community. Spark needs you, members of the local community and stakeholders impacted by cannabis policy or those seeking to affect cannabis policy, to share your feedback with us so that when DCR makes future policy recommendations to local leaders, those recommendations will be shaped by the individuals and communities most likely to be impacted. DCR has partnered with NBI Media to develop and administer programming to collect and analyze stakeholder input through several methodologies. NBI Media will develop a detailed report and informational video regarding program purpose, methodologies used, stakeholder input, and related analysis. This report and video will assist DCR in making stakeholder-informed recommendations to the Commission and City Council regarding stakeholder-identified priorities. Spark is generally broken down into 5 key phases: collecting feedback, analyzing feedback, creating the final report, develop and present recommendations, and then action by council and council committees and mayor. We are currently in the collecting feedback phase of this process. Through the progression of this program and with engagement from the community, the opportunity to use cannabis policy reform to spark positive outcomes in our community is possible. Throughout the program, NBI Media will be providing DCR with weekly reports with analysis on feedback received to date, stakeholders that have been engaged, and other key information. In addition, the Spark sessions will be recorded and used to produce a final video that shares feedback received from the voice of the stakeholders. At the conclusion of the program, NBI will present the final Spark report and video that will inform recommendations made by DCR and Commission regarding cannabis laws, policies, and programs in the city of Los Angeles. From there, it will be up to council and council committees to take action. I will now pass the presentation over to Ms. Smith with NBI Media to provide updates on the current status of Spark, including our April 20th, 2021 launch.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer, and good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Pamela Ty Smith, and I'm here today representing NBI Media on behalf of the Spark program. NBI Media has worked alongside DCR to create a program that we feel is both engaging and educational. With a focus on equity and interaction, we developed a plan that is inclusive and accessible and offers multiple mediums to engage with DCR. Our communities connect through different platforms and mediums, and the project we've developed reaches an array of stakeholders through different methods. With that, I'd like to provide updates on the Spark program since we launched on April 20th, 2021. You could feel the spark in the air on April 20th, 2021. On the morning of 4/20, the DCR website was updated to reflect the launch of Spark, including a refreshed homepage, dedicated Spark landing page, launched a blog and active links to the Spark virtual meeting room. The virtual meeting room can be accessed from the DCR website. It is featured prominently on the homepage in the carousel as a button on the homepage and as its own section under the About menu. Simply toggle over the About menu, and under the Department of Cannabis Regulation, you'll see a new Spark page. From there, click on the Enter Now button. Once you press the Enter Now button, a welcome video will appear. Please watch this video before entering the virtual meeting room to understand all of the features and functions of the room. Inside the Spark virtual meeting room, you'll notice different stations with elements to engage with. Each station offers a unique way that you can interact with DCR, including Spark Sessions, Spark Resource Station, Spark Surveys, and Spark Comment Box. If you're in or around the city of Los Angeles, we want to spark a discussion with you about cannabis. Spark is a unique initiative that wants to engage with all Angelenos. In addition to the website refresh and launch of the virtual meeting room, DCR dominated local radio airwaves and digital communication. On 4/20, DCR not only sent out a press release announcing the launch of Spark, but we also did interviews on KGLH 102.3, Power 106, Cali 93.9, as well as KNX 1070, a wide array of radio stations reaching varied audiences. In addition to these interviews, DCR was mentioned throughout the day on some of these stations and included in social media or on website postings. The team has also been hard at work reaching out to new and existing audiences. Spark has been mentioned or featured in newsletters and social media for some of the city's elected officials and major departments. One feature of the Spark program are the Spark Sessions. Spark Sessions are virtual events dedicated to specific topics DCR in seeking community feedback on, including licensing and regulation, the social equity program, corporate social responsibility, and community impact. Each Spark session will feature speakers and provide opportunities for participants to share feedback. The Spark Session station will include a schedule of upcoming sessions, information on how you can RSVP for upcoming sessions, and videos of prior Spark sessions. To date, DCR and MBI Media have hosted a total of 4 Spark sessions. Starting with session number 2, DCR began hosting a stakeholder comment period. This hour-long comment period allows stakeholders and members of the community to provide 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to comment on any and all things cannabis policy in Los Angeles. The Spark sessions have seen some good engagement. We look forward to sparking more engagement and recommendations in the coming sessions. For session 1, we had 82 attendees and got 28 comments. In session 2, we had 60 attendees and received 42 comments or questions during that session. Session 3 had 48 attendees and received 89 comments or questions. During our last session, Spark session number 4, we had 31 attendees and got 77 comments or questions. Since session 2, we have heard from more than 35 stakeholders during our stakeholder comment periods. Each Spark session gets more and more engaging with the inclusion of new digital tools. Spark sessions 2 through 4 included polls. These polls provided insight on the audience of the session, their needs, and what they wanted to see, and provided recommendations on how to better cannabis policy and the social equity program. The inclusion of polls provided an efficient and easy way of engaging the session attendees and getting feedback we need. The slide shows a few of the poll questions we've asked throughout the sessions. Questions have been single or multiple choice and are presented to attendees so attendees can see how others have responded. For instance, from these polls, we've been able to gather that folks who have attended these sessions have also attended commission meetings. showing us that our stakeholders are engaged in all that DCR does and are active in the commercial cannabis industry and social equity program. We also can tell that these attendees want more information on corporate social responsibility in the legal cannabis industry, the inspection process, and other permitting requirements. Your participation in these sessions is vital. MBI Media, DCR, and the Commissioner hear each and every one of your comments and questions. We're taking notes and we're gaining new learnings with each session. For more on this, I will now pass the presentation back over to Ms. Plummer.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. These sessions have provided us with valuable insights from our stakeholders and community members on cannabis licensing and regulatory programs, the social equity program, corporate social responsibility, community impact, and DCR's processes, procedures, and outreach methodologies. As mentioned by Ms. Smith, we have added a new stakeholder comment period before each of our Spark sessions. So for an hour before each session, we now allow stakeholders and members of the community to call in and have 2 minutes of uninterrupted time, as long as they're on topic about what they want to see or recommendations they would like to make for the cannabis policies here in Los Angeles. Throughout these sessions, we've seen almost 300 comments and suggestions. On the screen, we've included a few of the quotes we've received, including why hasn't DCR provided social equity applicants a list of 420 friendly landlords? It is imperative that family members of those arrested or convicted be included in the eligibility for Phase 3 Retail Round 2. The mothers, fathers, children, and grandparents whose lives were devastated by the loss of a direct family member need equal access. Everything that is available now needs 30-day processing time. We should have access immediately. Due to the economic hardships incurred from delays in process and funding for the social equity program, we need to seriously consider extending the moratorium for an additional 3 years until 2028. And social equity applicants need tax credits modeled after the City of Oakland's tax rebate program. These are 5 of the almost 300 comments that we have received through the Spark, just the Spark session alone, not even the Spark comment box. From here, we're able to take these recommendations and recommendations and create this report to present to the mayor or to City Council and the mayor to see what changes we want to see the changes we want to see. Maybe we need to change our policy so that we do have a list of available places. Maybe we partner with another organization such as, not the LACPA specifically, but another real estate or some type of organization in order to provide those resources to our applicants. So every recommendation and every comment that you guys write down and provide us with is seen and it's going to be analyzed and processed. As Director Packer mentioned previously, there is a process to how city government works, but we want to keep you engaged in that process, and having this feedback from you guys directly gives your feedback towards cannabis policy and the social equity program here in Los Angeles. So please keep attending these Spark sessions. We do have 4 more Spark sessions coming up. The next Spark session will be held next Wednesday, May 26, 2021. It will be on licensing and regulation. This will be our second social equity program. This will be our second Spark session focused on licensing and regulation. We will have the stakeholder comment period from 5 to 6 p.m. Again, during that time, this is your opportunity to provide us with any and all thoughts that you want. We're just taking notes. We're not replying or responding. We are, again, gathering information for the development of this report so that we can analyze and develop recommendations that speak to what our stakeholders want to see. The Spark session will actually begin at 6 p.m. The great thing about these upcoming Spark sessions, which we've included, are these new breakout rooms and this engagement activity. We'll have prompts, and we'll be working with the different digital tools within Zoom to really engage each of the stakeholders and members of the community that will be on these sessions. This is your opportunity, again, to see your comments typed out and written. We'll have prompts. MBI Media will be facilitating, and it will be a great time for you to hear from other members of the community as well and see what are they saying? What do other organizations think? Or how, if a neighborhood council member is there, what does this neighborhood council member think about this certain policy? So again, these breakout rooms will be a great opportunity not only to hear from other stakeholders, but provide your own personal input. After these sessions, we'll also be sending out surveys about not only the session, but with questions that we prompted or put into polls. We will include polls in some fashion or form throughout these remaining sessions. And again, the RSVP is available not only in the virtual meeting room, but on the DCR website at cannabis.lacity.org. Go to the About menu. Under About, there is a new tab for the Spark page, and from there you can RSVP as well. Lastly, we have still have our 2 first surveys up in the Spark virtual meeting room, and we have the Spark comment box. I think one thing that I want to let people know is if you might not have a comment on what you're hearing or what you've heard, but definitely come back to this Spark comment box at any time, and you can leave as many comments as you would like to leave. The more, the better. We want to hear from you guys. The more we hear from you, the more we have to go off of, and the more we can analyze and create recommendations, again, tailored to what our stakeholders and community need. And so I would encourage people also to go into the virtual meeting room. All of the previous Spark sessions will be updated in there so that you can watch them all, and maybe it will spark a thought in your mind that you want to include in the comment box. Maybe you go on and you take one of the 2 surveys. One is focused on licensing and regulation and the social equity program, and the other on corporate social responsibility and community impact. Maybe those 2 surveys spark an idea in your mind about what we can do for cannabis policy and the social equity program here in Los Angeles. So this is your time to really give us this knowledge in a streamlined and concise format. Again, you can stay connected to Spark in a variety of ways, including our virtual meeting room on the DCR website. Please sign up for DCR's email blast or listserv. That's on the DCR website under the About menu, and it's sign up for emails. And there's the Spark comment box. You can leave as many comments as you want in the Spark comment box. You aren't regulated to a certain number of comments. You can leave as many as you would like. There are the Spark surveys. We're hoping to add more. The Spark sessions are coming up. Again, the next Spark session is next Wednesday, May 26, 2020. The stakeholder comment period will begin at 5 p.m. and this session will begin at 6, and we will have great breakout rooms, prompts, and discussions. And lastly, we do have a new Spark email list. I've seen about 40 to 50 people sign up for the email list. And so we want to hear from you guys and keep in communication with you. So if you want to be added, simply go on to the Spark landing page on the website. I will now pass the presentation back over to Director Packer.
Thank you so much, Ms. Plummer. And thank you also to Pamela from MBI Media for joining in today's presentation. Before I go ahead and close this agenda item, I did just want to thank the leadership of our commissioners, Commission President On and Commissioner Vice President Mason, and the rest of the commissioners who have committed to attend and have attended these Spark sessions. I've enjoyed the Spark sessions as a means to get feedback and constructive feedback from members of the community about all different types of policies and programs that they'd like to see. And so I just want to, again, say thank you to those members who have participated, members of the public who have participated, but also to the leadership of this commission for joining us at these sessions so that we can have a unified front as a department in the commission to not only listen to stakeholders, but to be in a position where we're accountable to take action as we receive feedback from stakeholders. So thank you, Commission President On, for your participation and for your leadership in encouraging other members of this body to participate in Spark.
Thank you so much, Director Packer. Yeah, you know, it was really great to be able to participate in the program. You know, this is just another avenue by which we can get valuable input and feedback from the community, from various stakeholders and applicants. And, you know, we really can't have a robust, you know, cannabis industry without that input. And that's where we do all of our learning, because as I've said before, we are in many cases, learning as we go in this brand new cannabis industry. And as we start going through the licensing and start forming the infrastructure for the city of LA. And so it's just imperative that we continue to get that feedback. And I just want to encourage those folks that are listening here, if you haven't had a chance to provide that feedback, please go ahead and do so, because it does make a difference. And I just want to continue to encourage our staff to get the word out, continue our outreach to the community and stakeholders. It's really important that folks know that these types of initiatives are taking place and that they do have various opportunities to provide meaningful input. Are there any other comments or questions from the commission on this particular item? Okay. And again, I also want to thank the staff. I know you can tell just from the materials, just how much time it took to prepare all this materials, and the graphics and the visuals look amazing. And so I just really appreciate, the efforts that you've put in to this initiative. And I just hope that we can continue to reap the benefits of it as we move forward. Okay, with that, I'm going to close out item number 3. We'll move to item number 4, which is the Business Licensing and Compliance Assistance Program. Staff, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. For this particular agenda item number 4, Business Licensing and Compliance Assistance Program, I want to turn things over to Dr. Amani Brown, our Social Equity Program Director.
Thank you, Director Packer. I'm really proud to introduce the official launch of our Business Licensing and Compliance Assistance Program. This program will offer programming, curriculum development and training in the areas of state and local licensing requirements, commercial cannabis regulations, general business development, cannabis-specific business development, and workforce development. Next slide. The launch of this program, as we all will attest, has been a long time coming. And I'd like to share the genesis of the program just a little bit with the community, so as to provide some context of how we got here. In 2019, DCR was allocated $3 million for business licensing and compliance assistance. We issued our first bench. Can you go back, please? Yes. We issued our first bench of RFQs on June 5th and received 21 proposals. We issued our second bench of RFQs, request for qualifications, on November 20th of 2019 and received 7 proposals. Our contracting process was temporarily halted by the mayor's June 29th, the City of Los Angeles cost containment measure. This was implemented in response to the budget deficits brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thankfully, we were able to resume in September of 2020, signing contracts with 5 vendors for the Business Licensing and Compliance Program initiative. This month, we completed fully executing notices to proceed from the first and second bench of qualified vendors and began work implementing the program. And now I'm proud to introduce our 5 vendors: North Star Alliances, Oaksterdam University, Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches, Wadeco Business Center, and High Demand Development. These 5 talented vendors, These 5 talented vendors will provide subject matter expertise to social equity program participants with substantive backgrounds across a number of disciplines. Each vendor brings in-depth knowledge to their particular scope of work. Our vendors will now introduce themselves, their team, and their scopes of work for BLC programming and highlight some up-and-coming deliverables. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ernesto Morales. He is our CEO of North Star Alliances, who will introduce his team and present his scope of work. Ernesto?
Hello, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Do you want to put on your
Yes.
camera? Okay.
I'm trying to, my apologies. Share or video. My apologies. I'm not sure how to share my video at this point. Start video. There I am. Can you hear me? Dr. Brown?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your patience. My apologies. Good afternoon, and thank you for having us. We are proud to be vendors selected to be a trusted partner for the City of Los Angeles and help grow the Department of Cannabis Regulations Business Licensing and Compliance Assistance Program. My name is Ernesto Morales, and I am the CEO of North Star Alliances. North Star Alliances has delivered projects and programs that engage and empower communities throughout California through business development, public relations, and event support. For this project, my firm will work hand in hand with Strategies 360 and the Cal Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce. Strategies 360 is a full-service communication firm with in-house creative, web, digital marketing, government affairs, and public engagement teams. Strategies 360 has a history of helping the cannabis industry grow in a sustainable and responsible way across the Western United States, spearheading the campaign for legalized recreational cannabis in Arizona and working with Los Angeles cannabis businesses to advance policies and shape regulation related to commercial cannabis activity and delivery. The Cal Asian Chamber is the largest ethnic chamber in the state of California. Since 2016, Cal Asian has been providing outreach, education, and business support services to minority communities that have been impacted by the war on drugs. They have also developed the Sacramento Grow Green program to educate and grow the city of Sacramento's cannabis industry. Next slide, please. Our team is responsible for various components of DCR's business licensing and compliance assistance program. We will be providing education and training on commercial cannabis licensing, regulation, and business permitting in the city of Los Angeles and the state of California. Additionally, we will provide digital assets and curriculum related to general business development services. Topics will range from accounting and sales forecasting, payroll practices, insurance, financial planning, and fiscal management. And finally, the core of our work together, public outreach services. If folks don't hear about what DCR is doing to support them, how can they take advantage of the resources being offered? Our team is developing a thorough communications, outreach, and engagement plan, in addition to organizing virtual communication forums and resource templates for SEP applicants to take advantage of. Next slide, please. We are committed to working with DCR to create a truly equitable program that tears down institutional barriers, increases representation, and builds expertise and wealth within marginalized communities. This is our promise, our mission, and ultimately the lens that we will view our actions and deliverables through to ensure that all of our resources, curriculum, and offerings eliminate the biases built into the institutions and industries these applicants are attempting to conquer. Over the course of the next 4 months, we will offer several mediums for SEP applicants to access the tools and information they need to succeed as cannabis entrepreneurs and to engage with the department. First, we are working with DCR, DCR to develop a virtual toolkit of resources, which will include a landing page, e-guides, checklists, videos, infographics, FAQs, and other types of digital collateral to provide relevant, user-friendly, and easy to understand educational content that empowers SEP applicants. All formats will meet state accessibility requirements for the blind and hearing impaired. Next, we will be hosting live workshops and developing pre-recorded video content centered on the topics highlighted in our last slide. As virtual event managers, we will organize the nuts and bolts of Zoom webinars and online communication forums. Modeled after the Sacramento Grow Green program, our workshops will feature on-hand experts that will include regulators, industry experts, and fellow cannabis entrepreneurs to walk applicants through every step of launching a cannabis business. We invite you to join us for our first workshop, which will take place July 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. We have also set aside time to provide SEP applicants with one-on-one assistance, engagement, and support with our subject matter experts. Thank you again for this great opportunity, and we look forward to our continued engagement together.
Thank you so much, Ernesto. And now I would like to introduce Dale Sky Jones. She's the Chancellor of Oaksterdam University.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Dale Sky Jones, and the entire Oaksterdam University team is honored to work for the social equity participants of Los Angeles, and of course with the Department of Cannabis Regulation, the DCR, and the Social Equity Program to develop and administer educational materials and services for the business licensing and compliance, both 1.3 and 1.5. Key individuals dedicated to this endeavor are myself, I am the project lead and chancellor, Eric Lomo, director of our online programs, Miss Natalie Darvis, our dean of faculty, Gus Duarte, director of operations, and Jesse Smith, our executive assistant, as well as our faculty and subject matter experts. Our founders have been educating for the cannabis industry back when it was still a movement for 25 years now. Oaksterdam was founded in 2007, and we have trained over 50,000 alumni from over 40 countries, including the first Black social equity owner dispensary operators in both Oakland and San Francisco, as well as the first Latina equity owner, equity-owned dispensary, as well as thousands of small businesses. Oaksterdam's mission is to provide quality training for the cannabis industry. We have been deeply invested in community and personal restoration through scholarships, cannabis advocacy, policy and law reforms, business operations, management, workforce development, and of course, social justice advocacy. This is important to our team and me personally. Next slide. We are covering several different things, and the city has divided the work into iterative phases, including inventory management, purchasing, invoicing, security, quality control, marketing and branding, bringing unique marketing plans and branding strategies, governmental rules and regulations around this tricky subject, security requirements for both state and local, records retention, methods, methodology, especially with how to get started and what it's going to take initially in these first 4 months, as well as merchandise, transportation and delivery, safe transport, and delivering of goods in the Los Angeles and permitted jurisdictions with a focus on public health and safety. Next slide, please. We have a 4-month planned deliverable, and upon DCR approval, videos and digital assets will be provided within the first 2 weeks of each of the dates that you see on the screen. Our first priority number 1, are these first 200 Tier 1 and Tier 2 SEIP retail licenses that need immediate attention. For the next 4 months, our focus is on the 1.3 general business development services for the social equity individual participants. And this plan takes into consideration the historical, current, and anticipated conditions of the cannabis industry, the legacy operators that are trying to convert, and especially those adversely affected by the war on drugs. Each step will consider the importance of keeping the business dollar within the social equity supply chain and enhancing collaboration. Thank you for your time and attention. I'm Dale Sky Jones, Chancellor of Oaksterdam University. I'm honored to be entrusted and at your service. Onward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. I will now turn it over to Brad Rowe, who is with Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches. Brad?
Thank you so much. Greetings to the commissioners and to the public. My name is Brad Rowe, and I'm the Technology and Policy Media Consultant for the Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches Cannabis Business Development Program. In the audience are my colleagues Cheryl Branch. She is the Director of Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches, or LAM as we commonly refer to it, and Dr. Delara Uskup, Evaluation and Data Consultant at LAM. There are 6 additional sub-consultants working with us to deliver cannabis technology business development services to the DCR, listed on the slide that you see here. Their names are right there. Next slide, please. The Los Angeles Metropolitan Church's business model is a consulting services model based on subject matter experts, augmented by a core group of adult learning specialists in technology, big data, cannabis licensing, and regulation. LAM is responsible for cannabis technology business development services. This scope will help social equity entrepreneurs use technology to implement best practices in their business operations and remain compliant with state and local regulations. Next slide, please. Thank you. LAM's approach is rooted in the adult learning theory, and we consider that every applicant is not the same. Upon entry into the DCR system, we expect licensees will have various learning styles, experiences, and knowledge levels, and it's our job to create user-friendly and standardized technology, information, and tools to help everyone succeed. This includes creating technology vendor lists, guidebooks, checklists, videos, and webinars. We'll be doing all of those. And finally, California legalized marijuana to end mass incarceration and racial injustice against Black and Brown people. We decided early on at LAM that we wanted to join the effort to prepare social equity owners with the skills and support they need to become successful, tax-paying cannabis businesses. We're happy to work with the DCR, and we're honored to represent the community in this important launch of DCR's Cannabis Technology Business Development Services Program. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad, for your presentation. And now I will turn it over to Connie Sparks, who is the CEO of Wadeco Business Center. Thank you, Connie.
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Sparks, and I am the CEO of Wadeco Business Center. Wadeco Business Center is a full-service business development, strategic planning, and learning and development center. We work with companies nationwide on building growth plans and programs, defining their business model, and navigating through the complexities of raising capital for their business. We've worked with these companies, and we've been fortunate to work with higher education institutions and organizations like the Small Business Administration, Small Business Development Centers, and SCORE, which has afforded us the opportunity to give back to the small business community, which has contributed to the creation of 682 jobs, retention of 223 jobs, and the launch of 342 new businesses to date, and have trained over 37,000 business owners and managers. My professional and financing experience spans over 20 years helping small business owners meet the demands of their market and customers. Joining my team is Tony Forge, Christian Aragani, and Dr. Yasmin Davis. Now together they provide technical expertise in law, cannabis technology, and career development. Next slide, please. We will be assisting DCR with implementing workforce development, job outreach, and job placement services. Our first focus will be to host a virtual job fair with a focus on connecting our social equity individual applicants and social equity transitional workforce. We will also develop a registry to connect employers and employees on an ongoing basis. And finally, we will create a self-assessment tool for social equity and transitional workers to better position themselves for meaningful employment in the local cannabis industry. Next slide, please. Can you go back? So our 6-hour virtual career fair will take place this summer at a future date to be announced. We anticipate assisting 1,600 social equity individual applicants with fulfilling their job hiring responsibilities. We will assist both employers and job seekers through a pre-conference preparation, which includes a pre-selection process through a registry. We will also implement employer interview rooms, a resource board, and host operator session panels by license type, which include the following topics: cultivation, retail and delivery, distribution and transportation, and manufacturing. We will also host exhibitor breakout rooms for community organizations such as the Small Business Development Center. We look forward to seeing you at our virtual job fair this summer, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Connie, for your presentation. And now I will turn it over to Bob Pullman, who is the president of High Demand Development. Bob?
Hello, Dr. Brown, and thank you. Unfortunately, it's telling me I am not allowed to start my video because the host has stopped it.
Are you able to turn on your camera?
Yes, ma'am, I'm trying. However, it's telling me that because the video has stopped because of the host.
This is Josie. Give me 1 second. Let me change the settings.
No worries. Thank you. Well, in an interest of respecting everyone's time, I can get started, and Josie, feel free to interrupt there if that setting's changed. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Brown. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Bob Pullman, and I am the president and CEO of High Demand Development. HDD is a Los Angeles-based cannabis consulting firm. In order to deliver best-in-class service and deliverables for the social equity program, our team includes several strategic partners, many of whom are also local Los Angeles businesses, all of whom come with high regards within their respective fields. This team includes the Kilkenny Group, Oakland Black Business Fund, Corral Consulting, Belly Marketing, and Campaign Rep. Our team is very honored to be a part of the social equity program and are excited to begin working on our specific scopes of work, which I will outline on the next slide.
Hey, Bob, I want to interject. I think that you might be able to turn on your camera now. We can see you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Josie. Again, HGD is proud to be assisting the Department of Cannabis Regulation in successfully accomplishing the following scopes within the SEP program. Participant list. This scope will entail creating and managing a central location for storing and processing participant and social equity program data. That then leads to our next scope of work, data and reporting. Our team will support the Department of Cannabis Regulation in all data and reporting needs. We will also analyze and present data to the DCR to help make informed decisions and continually measure the program's success. We are also tasked with targeted surveys. These surveys will target specific groups and will be defined as we continue to identify program needs. And lastly, assistance with identifying funds and raising capital. This scope also includes a real estate component. Next slide, please. Throughout the next 4 months, HGD's team will focus its efforts in developing an interactive value-added platform that will be critical infrastructure for DCR program management. The hub will also be the central system for DCR participant and data management. The hub, along with HDD's analytical experts, will provide comprehensive data-driven reporting and insights for continued social equity program growth and success. We will practice proven tactics of research, plan, act to build upon our scope and to better assist the DCR and its teams. We will also assess and understand social equity applicant needs regarding capital and real estate acquisition support. And lastly, we will develop a comprehensive strategy and implementation plan for the DCR to support participant needs while providing meaningful and long-lasting benefits to the participants. Again, thank you for your time, and we look forward to working with everyone on this call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. We appreciate all the presentations. And now I will turn it back over to Director Packer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. And I want to thank all of our vendors, North Star Alliances, Oaksterdam University, Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches, Wadeco Business Center, and High Demand Development for joining today's commission to share information about what we're going to be partnering on over the course of the next 4 months. For our commissioners, this is very exciting for us as a department, and particularly as it relates to the social equity programming. We wanted to make sure that we were intentional about bringing on a suite of subject matter experts that could help us build additional programming to help support applicants as they're becoming licensed, as they begin to operate their businesses, and then to stay compliant so that folks can stay operational and continue to be successful, hence business licensing and compliance assistance. You'll notice that today's presentation really focused on vendors sharing with you their 4-month plan. And I just want to take a few seconds and moments to articulate why we are structuring this such that we're only planning for at least immediately for the next 4 months. And part of that reason is the driving purpose behind setting up such a short timeline for us is that I know that these programs are long overdue. We want to make sure that we can get them out as quickly as possible. And at the same time, we recognize that it's a evolving process, and we want to be able to, even as we launch programming over the course of the next 4 months, to be able to hear directly from stakeholders to help inform what the next several months of programming will look like. So I want folks to know, both the commissioners and members of the public, and I've expressed this to our vendors as well, we're being very intentional about setting up this short ramp of 4 months to ensure that we not only have programming that we can make immediately available to applicants, but that we're designing this program with an understanding that it needs to continue to evolve, driven by stakeholder feedback, so that as applicants navigate through different processes or experience different challenges, we can quickly pivot. I can go to my subject matter experts and say, we're hearing from community that they need a particular, we need to do a boot camp or a workshop on a particular subject, and we can work together to structure that programming. I intend to facilitate a lot of collaboration between our vendors and amongst our vendors, and also between our vendors, this commission, and members of the public. There aren't many programs that have stood up curriculum around the country, and many of the folks who are a part of our subject matter experts are a part of teams that have worked on these other educational programs in other jurisdictions. So I again want to thank all of our vendors for joining us today. Commission, please feel free to engage and ask any questions that you have. If you can pass questions to me, and I'd like to be able to pass them to vendors if you have any specific questions for the vendors. But I want to thank Dr. Brown and her team. I know that it's been frustrating for Dr. Brown and the social equity team as we've worked through the bureaucracy to get to this point where we were ready to design and implement programming. But we're going to have hours and hours of content made available through different means and one-on-one assistance, directly reflective of the feedback that we've received to date. So again, I want to thank my team, thank the vendors. This will conclude agenda item number 4. And commissioners, look forward to answering any questions that you have about the business licensing and compliance assistance program.
Sure, thank you very much. Also, I want to acknowledge and thank Dr. Brown as well. And as Director Packer had pointed out, I understand there have been a lot of frustrations on your end as well. But all that hard work we are starting to see come to fruition and is embodied, I think, in a very substantive way in these materials and with these vendor relationships. And just looking at the presentations, and I want to thank the vendors also for participating today. I was struck by just kind of the breadth of skill sets that were being offered and the subject matters that were included. It's a very broad in scope and also very diverse. And so I think it's going to be very helpful for those folks that need it the most. It's a whole suite of services that I think that many folks are going to benefit greatly from. So thank you for that, and very excited to see this being rolled out. Do the commissioners have any questions or comments regarding this item agenda?
Hi, this is Vice President Mason. Thank you all for being with us today and for your presentations. One of the comments that we received on services being offered to the social equity community with respect to review of their contracts is that it's just not sufficient time. So that leads me to question how much time will each applicant have with each of the vendors who are presenting services? Does it translate into, or do we know that, does it translate into 5 hours per applicant? Or does it translate until the job is done?
Thank you, Vice President Mason. I appreciate the question. We're here to do whatever it takes. We have resources. We want to structure those resources so that we can do whatever it takes to get folks through the application process. And then not only just through the application process, to provide ongoing support once businesses are licensed. The way that we're structuring, and this is very intentional, so that if we hear from stakeholders and say, we don't want A, B, and C, we want X, Y, and Z, we haven't scheduled 12 months of programming where we're unable to pivot. But the idea, Vice President Mason, is that programming is going to be made available primarily through 2 methodologies. Either through on-demand pre-recorded videos that will be available and folks could access through a landing page on our website. We are using a specific learning management software. Folks will get a unique user account and can log in and access all of the on-demand content that will be available. And in addition to that on-demand pre-recorded video content, our vendors are working on developing what we've been using internally as the term digital assets, but this is really just other collateral materials that may be helpful to support applicants that is going to go in addition to these pre-recorded videos. So that could be infographics, social media posts, checklists, e-guides, things of that nature. And in addition to the pre-recorded content that folks will be able to access on demand, and about half the content's on demand. The other half is going to be structured in the form of live webinars. And we are actively building programming, particularly through these live webinars, where to encourage engagement so that social equity applicants can ask questions of the subject matter experts so that we can facilitate questions getting answered. But we're at a point right now, Commissioner Mason, where we've got several different ways in which we intend to do this. One of our vendors, it will be providing hours of one-on-one assistance to either individuals or small groups. But I think part of what we want to be able to do is over the course of the next 4 months, particularly as program becomes available, is to utilize the vendor who's helping us with our data collection to identify, is this programming meeting the needs of our social equity applicants, and how can we take feedback from social equity applicants to structure the next series of programming. So it's going to be an iterative process. It's going to be we know that it's going to evolve. It's built to evolve, but also built to be available as soon as possible. And so I know that Dr. Brown is going to have her hands full, and we're very much just looking forward to working with these vendors and making sure that this is programming that is going to be helpful for community. And we'll make sure that we invite our commissioners in this body to participate as different elements of BLC programming launches, but you'll continue to hear from our vendors. They will continue to join us at commission meetings to give us updates, and also so that members of the public can give them updates, and you can listen to the feedback in real time from our social equity stakeholders.
Thank you for that, Director Packer. Welcome to the team, to the vendors. I am happy to hear that this is an open-ended service and there are no limitations in the service hours. And hopefully the community will be extremely well served by this new suite of services.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing there are none, I just want to once again thank everyone for your participation today. I want to thank the public for joining today's presentations and today's hearings. And with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. The time now is 4:39 p.m. Thank you.